Hey guys, Railroad Sniper here. Today we're going over another ratchet from the 1/4-inch ratchet comparison. Today that is the Craftsman CMMT86004 1/4-inch drive Gimbal Palm Ratchet. So the way you'd go about using this, you'd stick a socket on there, and it ratchets like that. So you can say, I'll grab the drive. The reverse lever is actually like this little thing on top. So switch directions, you just twist it. See if I can show you. Turn it to the right to ratchet to the left. Turn it to the left to ratchet to the right. Or turn things to the right rather. Anyways, so it's a pretty cool ratchet. I've never actually had a chance to use it, but it's got some nice features that are probably good for like under dash work or really hard to reach fasteners where you can only really get your hand in there, It's not much, it's not quite as thin as my Icon 1/4-inch drive flex head from the, I think it's like the little, the set from Harbor Freight. This one is not as thin, and but like if you don't have enough room to move this, the thinness is no good. The gimbal part is, as you can see, those little posts in the middle. The ratchet can spin on those 360 degrees. As you can see, this is turning. Oh, yeah, that one can't turn 360 because of the anvil. Let me see if I can fix that. Now, no matter how you turn the anvil, that's only going to be able to turn like, it's pretty, pretty extreme angle on there. Of course, you won't be able to use it like that, but you can also move them in combination. So you want to get a weird angle like that, you can do it. As long as you can get the socket or extension on there, you're good. All right. As far as like a swing arc, this thing's got 72 tooth gear on the inside. So it should be like 18 turns, I believe. Yeah, 18 turns. It's for to 90, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Kind of about 18 for a 1/4-inch turn. Now, this thing does not have the lightest of back drag. It's not heavy at all, that much, but like it's certainly not as light as possible because this is sold underneath the Power Torque name as well as the Husky name. The Husky version, which they sell at Home Depot, I've actually tested, and it's a 100 tooth mechanism. I didn't buy it, but because I'd already bought this thing and I didn't want to buy another one. But that one has a 100 tooth mechanism, and it seems a lot lower back drag on that thing. In addition to the lower swing arc, this one's like a 5-degree swing arc. That one would be like I'm not sure. Let's divide 90, or not 90. Let's divide 360 by 100. About a 3.6 degree swing arc. So you get a decent reduction. So that's nice. Anyways, let's get into the teardown portion of the video. We will be using the Icon set, which will be the 4th and final video in the 1/4-inch ratchet series. I believe this thing takes a T27, either that or a T25. Oh no, I was way off. It's not a T25, maybe a T10 or T15 then. Let us see. I would think this set has the appropriate size. Okay, got a T15 here. Yeah, T15. So if you're going to take this thing apart, make sure you get T15. Anyway, get T15 seated on that little fastener. That's what holds this whole thing together. Breaks loose pretty easy. This is like probably the 3rd time I've taken this thing apart. First time was to lubricate it, so when we get inside there, if you see any lubricant, that's from me. I don't think it was lubed very well from the factory. Okay. So we're nearly out. Okay. Once you get it apart, You've got your screw. It's got a little shoulder on there. Sits inside of the plastic reverse switch. I don't like that that's plastic, but at least they did put a metal pin in there to drive the reverse mechanism, which, as you can see here in a second, let's get this thing back in there. I'm going to show you it all at once. It's got the heart spring mechanism. There's your 92, or not 92, there's your 72 tooth pawl right there. Yeah, if it didn't just fall out. Anyways. And here is the anvil, which you can see actually doesn't have any teeth on it. Rather, the teeth are in the housing like a round head ratchet, which I think is pretty interesting. So, yeah, as you can see, that spins freely in there. No O-ring, by the way, so this is not a sealed ratchet, but however, it looks like as if there's a groove in which to add one, if I can get it to focus. As you can see, the little groove right about there. I think you could add one if you wanted to, but not one from the factory. Also, it does matter which way you put this in, because this side has a flat face for the pawl to ride on. Well, no, not for the pawl to ride on. This one has a flat face for the direction switching lever to sit on, while this one has a smaller rim inset for the pawl to go into. This is not a quick release, by the way, if you hadn't already guessed that. I forgot to mention. And I don't think they sell any quick release versions, to my knowledge. Let's see if I can take the spring out of the pawl now. Show you that. Don't want to lose any springs today. As you can see, that's a pretty decent sized pawl. It's bigger than the one in the gear wrench, and bigger than the one in the Harbor Freight one, I would say. Though this is a completely different mechanism. Those two are both like more. Well, this is good for a round head. This is pretty standard for a round head, but those were 2 pair head ratchets, and you normally don't see a pawl like this in that, as far as I can tell. So you can see very tiny teeth on that, since it's a 72 tooth 1/4 inch, although they do look decently substantial. We'll see how many actually mesh in with the ratchet. Okay, I believe, yes. So the ratchet pawl will sit in the deeper of the 2 halves. If I can show you. As you can see, this side is deeper than that one. So put it in the deep side. Once you've got that in there, you can put your spring in. You want the 2 prongs of the spring to go into the hole in the pawl. Like that. And then you put in your plastic reverse lever. Now you kind of want, it's kind of tricky, you want this post to grab the bottom of the heart, the point of the heart. Move it around a couple times, make sure it works, and then you want to hold that in place while you grab your screw. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to put Loctite on this thing, but you know, I've never done it and it hadn't popped out yet. So either or, you know. And get your T15 again. These are standard fasteners, not security fasteners, so that's nice for ease of disassembly standpoint and strength as well. Okay. Once you've got that in there, turn it to where it's not going to move. You don't need to tighten this down too much at all. Just basically tighten it until it stops. Maybe a little past that and you'll be fine. Alright, as you can see, works just fine. Now, we'll take apart the ratchet housing. Huh, it's kind of interesting. It's a little loose almost. Anyway, the same T15 fastener. These are definitely a lot tighter. Wow, that's pretty interesting. Okay. Oh shoot. There's 2 little metal shims in there. I'll show you them in a sec. Don't let them fall out. 3 metal shims. See if I can get that last one out. Don't think I'll be able to get that one out without a magnet, maybe. Anyway, there's the ratchet without the outer ring. I suppose if you really wanted a really tiny ratchet, you could do that. Of course, you won't have the little, you won't be as easy because you don't have the little thumb studs or thumb gouges out, you know, to get good grip. But if you didn't need a lot of torque and you just needed space, I guess you could take your little palm ratchet apart and use it like that. I mean, it still works fine, obviously. Just missing the 2 posts. As you can see, this screw is not your standard screw. It's got threads on the top portion, and like almost like a pin or dowel on the end. And how that works is it'll go into the hole right here and allow it to spin freely, but still be held in securely. All right, let's get the second ring off. This really loosens up the mechanism, that's for sure. Okay, looks like there's more, possibly more little washers in there, or shims rather. Actually, I think we're good. That's the holes that those fit into. So if you need an even smaller ratchet, or maybe if this is also used in a different type of ratchet, as like a, what do you call those? Roto head ratchet. Maybe you could turn this into a little roto head. I don't know. Anyway, so as you can see, same screws going through. Exactly the same, so I don't think it matters what order you go with. Now we can get this thing back together. Oof. It's gonna be a little trickier because you gotta hold it in place perfectly. Okay, so let's get one screw. It might help if you put the screw in a little bit beforehand. It's one possibility. Make sure you're tightening. You could also use like a spinner handle. That might be a little better for this. Or a bit driver instead of a regular right angle ratchet, you know. Once again, on these, just tighten it down until it's decently snug. Of course, you want it to be able to move, but you don't want it to be floppy. So I think that's a good amount of tension there. So I can show you. Like, it's certainly not easy to turn, but it's not difficult either. Okay, now we'll get our second one in. Make sure you get your little shims back in there, or else. And I'm not really sure why they have shims, but it's to make up for tolerance, you know. Make sure they're all settled in there. Mine are not being cooperative. Okay, let's take this thing out. Make sure they're in there. Okay. So maybe put those little shims in there beforehand. That way it'll be easier on you. Make sure you don't cross thread since this is aluminum. Hate to mess up your perfectly good ratchet, you know. Once again, tighten until snug. Oh shoot. Interesting. Now the middle's really loose. Oh, interesting. Okay, that makes sense. So the reason the shims are in there is so that the ratchet is centered within. So That explains it, you know. Let's take those. Take the little screw out. Now, okay. Now I think the shims need to go on the other side. Or actually, we can just flip the ratchet around. That's what we'll do. Maybe both sides had a shim. Well, I'll get y'all back once this is all finished up. As I'm back, got those shims out. Just had to get a little flathead. What do you call it? A little flathead precision driver in there. Seemed to work pretty well. Also tightened up the middle while I was in there. You basically want to tighten it until it feels like it would be way too tight to tighten it anymore. That's actually the correct tension for the completely assembled deal. Anyway, still works great. That's this basic overview and basic overview and teardown of this little 1/4" Craftsman Palm Drive ratchet with a gimbal. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Next video will be over this icon and the tool set it comes with. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.